Omni Creations is proud to present Ring Ring Hello.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to Ring Ring Hello podcast. On this episode, we dive into celebrating Women's History Month, as well as shouting out our latest merch and charity beneficiary t-shirts. It's cool to love thy neighbor. We are Artists United on omnicreationsart.com. Get yourself a shirt today and support the Haven Domestic Violence Shelter located in the Northern Neck, Virginia. If you've made it here, thank you so much for listening to our ads. And hi, hello. Welcome to Ring Ring Hello podcast, the podcast where no matter your background, you're not alone in a post-COVID world. This month is Women's History Month, and we are here to celebrate. Let's get together and celebrate. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of our mission to curate a better reality for all. A mission that's possible only with you. On this episode, I want to dive into a few different subjects, rallying around the importance of Women's History Month, as well as providing a call to action as a citizen here in the United States and as a creative. It's hard not to notice what's going on in the world around us. It's hard not to feel that passion to stand up for justice and what is right. And with that, at Omni Creations and here on Ring Ring Hello, we want to make sure that we're providing a safe haven for all of our creatives, no matter their background, while also making sure that we have a strong stance of justice and a equally as strong stance of morality. So please know that while you're here, we will not be discussing the particular differences of parties or policy and such and so forth. However, we will be diving into the pertinence and prevalence of Women's History Month and its path to justice here in the United States, how honoring strength then and now helps all of us today, recognizing today's challenges and collective action, as well as building a culture of care. And while in context, briefly, these subjects you would initially think don't produce a combative type of audience, but I just want to give a forewarning that if you're someone who is sensitive to policy or not policy, but if you're someone who is sensitive to politics, this may not necessarily be the episode for you, and that's completely acceptable and kind. Please understand that we are here to provide advocacy, not to debate or support hate against any one particular thing. And with that, let's get into Women's History Month and nurturing changes. Welcome back to another episode where we create a space for meaningful conversations, connection, and growth. This month, we're honoring Women's History Month, a time to reflect on the resilience, wisdom, and strength of women throughout history. More importantly, it's time to recognize that justice is not just a concept from the past, but an ongoing journey we all share. In today's episode, we'll explore the ways women continue to advocate for equity and safety, as well as how we can foster a culture of care and support. We'll also discuss self-regulation techniques that help sustain us in this work, because true changes come from a foundation of both inner resilience and collective action. Let's dive in together. Women's History Month is more than a celebration, although we do deserve to celebrate. It's a reminder of the perseverance and courage that has shaped our world. From Sojourner Truth's powerful speeches on racial and gender equality to the suffragists' tireless fight for voting rights, history is rich with stories of women who refused to back down. But let's take a moment to acknowledge that advocating for justice, whether in big or small ways, takes energy. It can feel overwhelming, even doing a podcast, can be exhausting to witness and experience the injustices that still exist today. That's why self-care and self-regulation are so essential. If you are ever feeling emotionally drained by the weight of advocacy or personal struggles, here are a few ways to ground yourself. Deep breathing and mindfulness. A slow, simple inhale and exhale can help reset your nervous system, especially when discussing difficult topics or engaging in activism. Progressive muscle relaxation, releasing tension in the body, can create a sense of calm and help you stay present and engaged. Journaling and reflection, writing down your thoughts, frustrations, and hopes can bring clarity and renew your sense of purpose. That refreshment sometimes comes in the form of a conversation with friends, someone who is very reflective of your personal particularities when it comes to advocacy and such and so forth. Having a close friend that you can talk on the phone with or go out to lunch with and just discuss, the ways of the world today. Even if not in great detail, just having a person to express your emotions to and a sense of energy can be very healing. Community support, you don't have to carry the weight alone. Reaching out to your trusted friends and support groups or professional counselors to share and process emotions if you don't have the skill set to comprehend and follow through on your own. This movement isn't about burning ourselves out. It's about building something sustainable together. Today's challenges in collective action, even as we honor past progress, we recognize the ongoing battles women face today. Here are 3 key areas where support and advocacy are needed now. And these are the subjects that I warned about earlier, or not necessarily warned, but these are the topics that I stated earlier could potentially be arguable to some. And while I understand to some these are subjects that can be argued over, I disagree. I don't think that the following are subjects that should be argued over. I think that they are things that have been noted in legislature as rights and necessary qualities of life. So, first we have reproductive rights and healthcare access. Across the country, access to reproductive care, including abortion and contraception, is being restricted. This disproportionately affects low-income women, women of color, and those in rural areas. What can we do to support? Support organizations that provide healthcare access, stay informed on legislation, going on to your state websites, knowing who your congressmen are, knowing who your senators are, knowing who represents you on your districts, knowing who your mayor is, knowing your town hall meetings. Like, all of those elements really do build up and have an incredible impact on the lives of those in the community that we share. And it's important to understand in these types of subjects, while one of these particular subjects or topics may not apply directly to you, and that's wonderful. If it doesn't directly apply to you, keep on listening, because it applies to someone, and it applies to someone you may know, or in the very least it definitely applies to somebody that you know knows. Next, we have economic equity and opportunity. Women continue to experience wage gaps, especially women of color. Economic insecurity can impact everything from healthcare access to education. How can we help? Advocate for fair pay policies and supporting women-owned businesses, and mentor and uplift women in professional spaces. So if you're in a working environment and you have a manager or a supervisor who happens to be a woman, if they are doing a wonderful job at what they're doing, provide them feedback on how much you appreciate that. If there are certain things that, are not going in a very productive way, journal your thoughts out, write your thoughts out, discuss with your friends, and write something to present to that professional in an appropriate way to discuss the potential needs for supports to be provided in a different way. Working on the effective and efficient workplace communication. Number 3, safety and well-being. 1 in 3 women experiences physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. And with that, I want to say it says 1 in 3 experiences. And that doesn't mean that they only experience one time and that's it. There's no more. Please don't misunderstand this. This is a oftentimes exponential type of situation, and many face unsafe work and home environments. How do we create change for this? Supporting local shelters. For example, OmniCreationsArt.com right now we're having a pre-order merch sale. Actually, when the podcast is still live, we have a now live t-shirt. It's cool too. Love thy neighbor. We are Artists United, and 20% of the profits from each shirt sold goes to donate and support the Haven Shelter, domestic violence shelter in the Northern Neck, Virginia, which is a rural area and the Haven provides support to a very wide area of people, and it's as a business owner, as an activist, as an advocate, I try to make sure that all that I do and show through action and entrepreneurial pursuits also supports the moral stance that I express and share. So with that being said, you don't have to already be a millionaire to support your community. You don't have to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a difference. $20 makes a difference. $30 makes a difference. $10, it makes a difference. And if you don't have the funds to donate, that's also entirely understandable. Just as we discussed earlier, there's other ways of providing support to your community. It doesn't have to just be with your monetary compensation. We all have the wonderful gift of a voice, and if you're listening to this, you have access to the internet in some degree. So get online, get active, support love in the community. We all need it. And with all of that being said, the love that we all need and we all experience, as these issues are deeply personal and advocacy can be emotionally challenging. That's why it's important to practice emotional regulation and create spaces like here on Ring Ring Hello where we can discuss and recharge and take notice without having to include the raging elements that come from these very justifiably emotionally challenging circumstances in life. Now let's discuss building a culture of care. Just as justice isn't about changing laws, it's about changing how we treat one another. So how can we build a culture of care that supports all women regardless of background? Well, radical empathy and listening. Making space for different lived experiences helps foster understanding and allyship. Now that can look different for different people. If you're someone who notices yourself getting very irritated whenever someone's discussing their own perspective in life, that may be a sign to you that you need to practice and work on some self-reflection and radical empathy and listening. make space intentionally for the different lived experiences of others. And if this is something that you already practice in life, then you understand at times it can be a very heavy experience to listen. But with mental health support and healing practices, which is our next subject of building a culture of care, we can find ways to support ourselves and finding those intentional moments of alone time, whether that's through therapy, meditation, or holding space for someone who needs to talk, and caring for mental well-being, as it's a crucial fight or as it's a crucial element in the fight for justice. So making sure that we're providing not only these supports to others, but also taking the time to apply them to ourselves. Community-based care, mutual aid, and mentorship programs, as well as grassroots organizations, all create support networks that uplift marginalized voices. So go online, Google grassroots organizations in my area, wherever you live. There's all kinds of access to, or not all kinds of access, there's all kinds of opportunities. It's just placing ourselves in those opportunities and following through when they present themselves to us. And with that, we also have everyday advocacy. As I said before, change doesn't only happen in courtrooms or protests, it happens in everyday conversations like we're having right now. As you're listening to me, you're having your own thoughts, your own opinions, you're perceiving the words that I'm saying and how they may affect you versus how I am intending them to be perceived. This goes beyond just the structural instances of justice like courtrooms and protests. It also goes into workplaces and how we support one another in friendships and family and such and so forth. With all of that, I say with much gratitude, love, and grace, this Women's History Month, let's not only honor the past, we must nurture the future. Progress requires both strength and care, advocacy and rest. Take the moment to reflect. How can you contribute to justice while also caring for yourself and your community? Whether it's donating to an organization, starting a conversation, or simply taking care of your own well-being so you can keep showing up, every action matters. And remember, we would love to hear from you. What's one way you practice self-care while staying engaged in advocacy? Share with us on social media. We have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and our website, omnicreationsart.com, and right here on YouTube. Let's continue this conversation together, and until next time, take care, stay grounded, and keep building a better world. And don't forget, love yourself today. You're worth it.
Will you be calling?